Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very special little session we have here with the team at SubQuery. It's a pleasure that I'm here with Boris. He'll give a slight introduction of what he'll be running through today, but as you can tell, this is a virtual workshop on data indexing. So it's an honor and a pleasure. And Boris, I'll hand it off to you.
Excited to be here, Lois. Hey, um, my name is Boris. I'm one of the contributors to SubQuery, and yeah, we've prepared a, good starter project example, and yeah, we just wanted to showcase it. I'll be starting with the agenda of this workshop. First of all, we're going to be starting with the problem discovery. We'll be overviewing a subquery as a solution. I'll be presenting a starter project that a subquery sim prepared for this workshop. And then we're going to be having a small Q&A session. Um, so what is subquery? What is we trying to do? What are we trying to achieve? Imagine any decentralized application. Imagine a wallet, for instance. And there is a really common use case for every wallet to show a list of transactions that happened in the past by an imported address. And unfortunately, there's no way to for the majority of blockchains, there's no way to directly ask any node in the network to uh, to return a list of transactions that were done in the past, just because it's a large data is not stored that way, first of all, and secondly, it's like a hard and complex computational task to do for a node. Uh, and usually, this data is in a is stored like historically in the form of like um, primitives. If we take any EVM chain, it could be an event or transaction method. So in order for an application to get this kind of data, uh, there will have to be something like a pre-indexing done. So indexing is a process of the development of this middleware that will um, try to iterate over the past blocks and according to the specified manifested rules, save data from the past blocks so that consequently it could be like easily and simply queried by the applications. Uh, that way, reducing the necessity for nodes to, do those hard computational stuff. And it's not obvious. It's not only about the transactions. I mean, take any like time series analysis. So let's say you want to calculate, in your dApp, you want to present the amount of I don't know, transactions grouped by day. So there will be any node that will return you that exact data. So you'll have to make it like queryable by the applications. And SubQuery is an indexer, and SubQuery solves those problems. So not only it's a open source indexer, and you'll probably be interested in developing it first locally, but then you'll obviously will be interested in deploying it somewhere so that it's running and it's powering up the applications built on Fantom. And then you have two options. You have managed services and decentralized marketplace. So managed services is just like a cloud for hosting the subquery indexes, and decentralized marketplace and a decentralized solution to host your indexer. But in any case, all those indexers are built on top of subquery SDK. And why is it so good? First of all, it's completely open source. Every tasks, every requirement is in GitHub, so you can track the progress there. It's really easy to work with. It's Docker friendly, so you could start locally, validate that your project is working correctly, and then deploy it to a cloud. It's really simple. So essentially, I have to configure three types of files. I'll be covering those three types of files more details during the demo section of the workshop. Then it's really customizable. So every SubQuery project is a TypeScript based project. So with TypeScript, you can actually do anything with necessary type safety. So yeah, you can program any logic within your processing flow. It's really fast, so it's faster comparing to some of the major competitors. And recently, uh, we've also uh, improved the performance, I think, like by almost like 4 times. So really significantly, and the performance is uh, still growing and getting better and better. Then it's really feature reach. One of the features are like real time. So instead of like doing polling, you can actually like subscribe via WebSocket to a to one of the components of your index and receive data like on the fly. So that would be interested for those who are trying to build who's trying to present data in real time. The one of the most important features that we recently introduced is multi-chain. So from the same SubQuery project, you can actually work with data from multiple chains. So let's say you're building a cross-chain application that's having the transactions executed across like multiple blockchains. So obviously, in order to ensure that your transaction was executed, you have to make a connection to several chains. So, and you can do it from a single subquery project and merge data within a single subquery project, and consequently, like make it queryable from a single subquery project, which is really cool. It's really flexible. So again, TypeScript is ensuring the flexibility. And finally, it's compatible with actually more than 150 chains right now, including EVM, Network Family, Polkadot, Cosmos, and more. So I'm gradually moving to a demo pod or workshop. So we have prepared a starter project that we've called Fantom meme coins. You can scan the QR code to get an access to a GitHub, and you will find a code that I'll be working with. So obviously there are prerequisites to run SubQuery project locally, including the one that we'll be working with. So you have to have Node.js installed. You'll have to have Docker if you want to launch a project from Docker, and I recommend launching it like that way because it's the easiest way to do it. And apart from the index itself, you'll need two more components to be run simultaneously. So that's a good strategy to launch. I will give more details during a demo. Finally, you'll need a subquery CLI. So you'll need it for instance, for type generation, and which ensures type safety and therefore giving you a robust project that you can be sure that it's not gonna fail at some point of time. So as I previously said, you'll only have to configure three types of files: schema file, manifest file, and mapping file. I'll be covering those in more details a little bit later. So the goal of the starter project was to index all transfers and approvals events for the chill token on Fantom upper network. And additionally, we'll be tracking token balances. So again, here is a link to a started a project in the GitHub, so be sure to follow along. All right, I'll be I'll be quickly switching to VS Code.
Yeah, thank you so far, Boris, for that breakdown and letting us know what features subquery provides, right, to those trying to index efficiently, right? It's fast, it's flexible, and like you said, it's very open source. So, yeah, excited for you to go through this demo. So go ahead.
All right, yep. So I'm now having my VS Code open. Obviously, you can use your favorite ID for that. And the the simplest way to start, um, I would suggest to first of all use one of the templates that we've prepared and that were made accessible from our CLI. So if I just type subql in it, I would be able to fetch uh, fetch a template um, for uh, for a for your Fantom subQuery project, and those are um, configured. So if I find Fantom here, um, I can see that here's a project, and if I would have pressed enter now, I would end up having the similar project to what I'm having now here on the left-hand side. So yeah, I've pre-downloaded it, so I don't have to, fetch it now. Right. So there are three types of files that have to be configured. As I said, first of all is a schema file. So what is schema file? What is it? Schema is a manifest of entities that will be queryable. So here we'll essentially manifest the API interface, and the application will only be able to query those entities from this project. Um, the, we're we're manifesting transfer, approval, and an address. And you can also see that address entity is being referenced as part of other entities. So we have a interconnectivity between those. And I'll show you the result once we've successfully launched a project. So that's file type number one. A second type of file is a manifest file itself. So it's under project.ts here. And here we are, well, first of all, it serves like multiple purposes. We're giving a name to the project here. We're indicating the dependencies. We're also indicating a network that we want to fetch data from. We're giving the list of endpoints for Indexer to try to fetch data from. And then data sources. So data sources is an object that we'll be configuring to specify the indexer, like what exactly has to be fetched from a node, and how exactly should it be processed. Right, it's gonna be the headless. So here we're saying that we want to be start indexing from this block. We'll also be generating an ABI from ERC20. We will be generating types from the ABI because we want to ensure the type safety. We're indicating that we want to use like this exact ABI. We're going to be fetching data from this contract address. That's a chill token contract address. And once we are once we're trying to fetch data from there, we can actually like handle like three primitives. Those primitives are blocks, polls, aka transactions, and events. So the first handler we're going to be using is a call handler. So we'll be trying to like process the transactions, and we're going to be processing the approved transaction. So once we see that there is an approved transaction in the blockchain, we fetch it and we pass it as a parameter to a handle transaction function. And this is going to be a TypeScript function where we'll be able to, process data from these transactions like however we want. And this is done as part of a third type of the files. So as you can see, if I search for a handle transaction function, we'll find it here under like mapping handlers.ts file. So again, we'll be looking to the blockchain, we'll be looking to a approved transaction. Once we see that this transaction was called, the indexer will somehow fetch it and pass it here as a parameter, as a proof transaction. And from then we can process data from it. So what exactly are we doing with the data of approved transaction? First of all, we're printing a helping log. Then we are making some mystery checks that the method the transaction is not empty, essentially. And then we're creating an entity itself. So we're populating the approval entity, the one that we've been manifesting here, with a new value, a new row, like think of it as a new row in a database. So we're creating a new approval. As its ID, we're giving the hash of the transaction. For owner ID, we are just taking a from object from a transaction. Same for spender. For value, we're taking the first, actually the second argument of a transaction. And yeah, for contract address, we're taking a to object. So that's for the transaction handler. And we're also having the same for event. So we're handling the transfer event. And here is where it is handled. It's having a like more sophisticated logic here. So just to quickly go over it. First of all, not only we're handling data from event itself, we're also trying to query data from a smart contract, so that we can track the balances. So the project is like more feature rich. So we're querying this data, and then we're just like populating the transfer with a data query. And additionally, we also changed the balance of all the participants of the transfer. So once we see that there is a transfer from Alice to Bob, then we'll be updating a balance as well for both of those accounts. So if I run project, I can simply do it. Yeah, actually a tip. So essentially, there are 3 steps to run a project. First of all, you have to do a codegen. So codegen is it generates a bunch of files, including types. Then from those generated files, you will have to build a project. And in our case, then you'll be deploying it locally from Docker. You'll be deploying 3 components, which are Index itself, a Postgres database that will be storing all fetch data, and a GraphQL engine and interface to query this data. So the simplest way to run is to run this script called dev. Essentially, it's just a like free sequentially executed commands, code generation, build, and Docker compose. So if I type yarn dev, I'll be having a project starting. Fingers crossed, it's not gonna fail. It usually likes to fail during the
It's
week.
always the moment of truth, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right, we're having a bunch of logs here. We're seeing errors, but like we shouldn't really worry about those. Those are just like network specific errors. Just probably we're just doing too many requests to the nodes, so that's why. So I'll be switching to a web browser where I'm supposed to have a GraphQL playground created. So here is a GraphQL playground. If you've been following along, you also should be able to find the same interface under port 3000. So yeah, I can now query data um, and querying according to the schema that we've previously manifested. So we made queryable transfers, for instance. So here is a example query. If I press play, I will see the data. I will see that like on that exact block height, we have a transfer from um, this account to this account, and we're also updated their balances. And as you can see, since we've been referencing one entity from, since we've been referencing address entity from transfer entity, we can like call address entity from transfer entity. So it's here like two object, and as we can see, we're also calling ID and balance properties of address. So that's that's really cool. And that's how you create a SubQuery project and yeah, make it verbal. So yeah, once you've launched it locally, once you've launched it in Docker and validated that it's working correctly, you'd probably be interested in hosting it somewhere and deploying that way, enabling the applications to query it. And you will have several options. You can like host it to any cloud. Again, like SubQuery is open source project. You can like deploy it. You can run and deploy it anywhere. The second option would be a managed service. Essentially, it's just like a cloud for SubQuery network. It's cloud so for SubQuery projects, right? That's like really easy to work with. And third, there is a decentralized solution called SubQuery Network, which is really sophisticated solution with like bunch of factors. So um, yeah, be sure to check the website for more details on that. So yeah, additionally, we're having an academy, a documentation, which helps to start. All details are there, and yeah, thanks a lot.
Awesome.
Looking
Awesome,
forward to
Boris.
it.
Yeah, well, I'm first of all, thank you so much for walking us through step by step on how to actually set up your projects and on your local host, right? And how to efficiently kind of take advantage of subquery's features, right? So I appreciate you for spending some time with us today. I know as people will view this, we'll probably leave some questions in the comments section. I'm hoping that they reach out to you as well in partnership, but as well. I have a few questions to ask you that maybe you could answer for us.
Cool.
So the first one I have, I know you mentioned that it's multi-chain compatible, but can it handle multiple chains simultaneously?
Yeah, sure. So the configuration is like pretty straightforward. So by the way, I'm having open the official and only documentation for SubQuery. So if I type multi-chain here, I would be able to find the corresponding page. So yeah, it's really easy to configure. So as you could have spotted, I've only had a single manifest file, but like in case of a multi-chain project, we will end up having like um, several of those. So we just show you an example. Here it is, the starter project repo. If I select multi-chain and project here, yeah, you would be able to see like this is a manifest file, so it's essentially features all the other manifest file, and it's really easy to configure. So yeah,
Awesome. Another question, does it support easy data aggregation?
oh yeah, it does. It supports it. Yeah, in order for you to enable it, you'll have to enable a unsafe flag for a query service. This is done just because like all those aggregations are performed like on each query. So if you're launching your subquery project and making it like and want to enable the aggregations, would you should be like cautious of like potential attacks from anyone, and like making those like aggregation queries will can probably be a risk to a project. But like for the sake of example, um, I had a unsafe flag enabled for the project that we've just been working on. So you can actually like see you can see this query here. So it's an aggregation, and GraphQL does it automatically. If I press the play button, you can see that it automatically calculates the value of transfers and grouping the results by a key by a receiver ID. So yeah, the aggregations are supported.
Hmm. Awesome. I think lastly, another question, does it support or handle external stuff like APIs?
Yeah, it does. Obviously, SubQuery was designed to be a deterministic system, and like once something is like in the finalized blocks, it's not gonna be changing. So it's a different story with APIs. So if you're trying to fetch data from an API, then you'll probably fetch like different data every time, just because like the APIs are changing. But still, it's possible. Yeah, you can read more about it in uh, third-party library support uh, in this page. So essentially, yeah, we're giving an example like how easy it is to fetch data from any API, and yeah, it would be interesting and handy if you're trying, for instance, to, I don't know, build like price prediction
Hmm.
tool and want to, apart from using blockchain data, want to query some price aggregators just to make better predictions. But yeah, it's supported.
Awesome, Boris. Well, as you can see, the documentation is robust, so there's a lot in there that people can dive into. So, but Boris, once again, thank you so much for walking us through this step by step. What is the best way for people to get in contact with you or anybody at SubQuery? I know again the documentation's in front of us, but can people connect with you, Boris?
Yeah, all the links, all the emails, the
Yeah.
community, Telegram, X, Discord, all the links there could be found on the official website at SubQuery Network.
Cool.
So be sure to scroll down.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Boris. For those watching, we urge you to check out the project files, test it out yourself, play around, and kind of get your hands wet with SubQuery. As you can tell, it's super efficient, robust, a lot of features built in. So I look forward to staying in touch, Boris, and hopefully we could do another workshop in the future discussing any, updated features or things like that on your guys' end.
It was a pleasure, Louis. Thanks a lot.
Take care.